Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Haba. Good to see everybody back. We're continuing Mishnah Berurah, Daf HaShavua. We are learning Siman Kuf Tes. Kuf Tes, Sif Aleph. We began it last time. We're in Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Daled, if I'm not mistaken. Let's read the Mechaber again. Din eich yisnaik hayachid lechavin b'tfilasim atzibur. How a yachid could conduct himself to direct his tefillah with the tzibur. Aleph, hanichnas l'beis haknesa, someone who entered the shul and matzah tzibur mispalan, and he sees the tzibur is already davening. Im yachal lahaschil v'ligmar kadim she'yagia shel tzibur l'kedusha. If he could start and finish before the shots gets to kedusha, or l'kadish, or even to kaddish, Yispalel, he could daven Shemone Esrei. But he has to be able to finish in time to answer Kedusha, answer Kaddish, or the Ramah says, V'hu adin, the same din would be that he needs to be able to say Amen Dokel HaKadosh and the Amen of Shemei Tefillah. The Amen of Hakel HaKadosh and the Amen of Shemei Tefillah have a din of Kaddish and have a din of Kedusha. Now, So the issue here is you're going to be entering to daven, and the problem is you're coming late, and because you're coming late, you're going to miss the ability to answer Kedusha, Kaddish, the Amen of Hakel HaKadosh, the Amen of Shemei Tefillah. So the Mishnah Berurah Aleph, which we read last time, I just want to refresh my memory and your memory. What is the issue of coming late over here? What are we afraid? Is it that we're afraid you're going to miss answering Kedusha? Because Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Aleph says that if you want to go and daven in the Azara, that would be okay. So that sounds like the issue is not missing, the issue is somehow you being involved in your davening while they're saying Kaddish and Kedusha, because why would it be okay to daven outside? So the Rabbi Meir asks, it's shver, because he's chayiv to hear Kaddish and Kedusha. So the Igros Moshe explains, you have to say we're talking about where you have a tzarech gadol, therefore we allow you to go out. If you would stay in the Beis HaKnesses, even if you had a tzarech gadol, you would not be able to walk out on Kaddish and Kedusha. In other words, the guy is in a rush. He came late and he has to leave early. It's always the guy, by the way, it's always the guy who comes late has to leave early, you know? They go together. Somehow, the guy who has to leave early, he's the guy who comes late also. But anyway, the guy has to leave early. He cannot leave early once he's in the shul and walk out on Kaddish and Kedusha. So this guy who's coming late and he has to go, if he wants, he could daven outside. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah of Katan Beis says this whole stuff is talking about Tfilas Mincha. Because Tfilas Shachris, you can't just walk in and skip to Shemone Esrei. You have to say minimum Birchas Kriyishma. Or the case could be Shachris, and you already said what you needed to say. Now, the Bir Halacha, in the first Bir Halacha has a suffix, very interesting suffix. A guy who davens along Shemone Esrei and he will not be able to finish to answer Kedusha, is he even allowed to start? The Dirshu brings the Chazon Ish, and Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zanenfeld says, yeah, you could. But the Bir Halacha is masupik, whether you're allowed to daven if you're going to miss Kaddish and Kedusha. And don't bring a raya from here that you're not allowed to, because here, since this is not a full-fledged tefillah b'tzibur, because you didn't start together with them, like the Pri Megadim says, but maybe if you start together with them, since now you have a chiyuv to daven b'tzibur and a chiyuv to answer Kedusha you don't have right now, so the fact that later on you won't be able to answer, that won't be a problem. And then also you'll be an oinus. And also I would say, also you do have the option of being silent and doing it through Shemei Ka'ina. If you come late, you also have the option of being silent and answering through Shemei Ka'ina, but at least if you start with them, you get a full-fledged tefillah b'tzibur. Okay, so we're in the middle of Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Daled. The Mishnah Berurah began with the question that if you have to finish your tefillah before Kedusha, certainly you're going to hear Kaddish after Shemone Esrei, So he says either we're talking about Mariv where there's no Kedusha, or let's say we're talking about we already heard Kedusha, but you need to hear Kaddish. Okay. So therefore, you need to finish the Shemone Esrei before the Kaddish after Shemone Esrei, meaning finish before the Sheikh Tzibbur gets to Amen Yehei Rabbah. And in that case, in other words, if you're going to finish Shemone Esrei right when the Shliach Tzibbur gets to Yehei Rabbah, don't answer Amen, just say Yehei Rabbah, because you didn't hear the first part of Kaddish. So their Amen would be an Amen Yesayma. Okay, we're on the second to last narrow line. That's what we're up to. V'da, everything we just did until now was the intro. Okay, V'da. The Amen Yehei Rabbah adif mi Kedusha. Amen Yehei Rabbah is greater than Kedusha. I think if you ask people what's greater, Amen Yehei Rabbah or Kedusha, if they stop and think for a moment, they might know Amen Yehei Rabbah is greater, but most people still think that Kedusha is greater than Amen Yehei Rabbah, which is not the case. Therefore, al kein ba samach la Kedusha. If you come to shul close to Kedusha, v'im yamtin ad acher Kedusha, and if you wait until after Kedusha, lo yigmar tfilasay ad acher Kaddish, you're going to miss Kaddish. And you can't wait so long. Meaning you have a choice. You can either start now and get Amen Yehei Rabbah, or start after Kaddish and not get Amen Yehei Rabbah. Ulahamtin ad acher Kaddish enu yachal, mipnei shezman tefila over, because the zman tefila is going to pass. So it's either you get Kedusha. In other words, here's the case. You come close to Kedusha. If you wait till after Kedusha, then you're going to miss Kaddish. And to wait after Kaddish, you can't do it. You're going to miss the Zman Tefillah. Toiv sheyaschel al kodem Kedusha is better to daven before Kedusha. V'yayuchal anas Amen Yehei Rabbah. So in other words, whenever you have a choice, should I answer Kaddish or Kedusha, it's better to answer Kaddish. On that, I would just ask on that, think about what you're doing. You're delaying doing a better mitzvah later by answering Kedusha than chapping arayin the mitzvah of Kaddish right now. I'm sorry, I'm delaying by davening Shemone Esrei now, getting Kaddish later, rather than doing Kedusha now, because Kaddish later is better than Kedusha now. There's a famous machlokes between the Radvaz and the Chacham Tzvi. Is it better to do a mitzvah right away, or is it better to wait and do it better later? Like a classic case would be Kiddush Levana. Is it better to do it right away, let's say right after the third day, or is it better to do it after 7 days? In other words, what's better, Zrizos or Mitzvah Min HaMavchar? Usually we say Zrizos is better, in general. Better to do a mitzvah right away than to do mitzvah min hamivcha later. So here the Mishnah Berurah is saying, better to do Kedusha later than to do Kaddish right now. I'm sorry, better to do Kaddish later than Kedusha right now. Why? Why don't we say Zrizos? Chaparayin the Kedusha. You never know, you might not be around in a few minutes. Now here it's a little bit different because it's talking about two different mitzvahs. The general machlokes is it better to do this mitzvah quickly now or this mitzvah better a little bit later? Here we're talking about where you have a choice between two different mitzvahs. You could do Kedusha now or Kaddish later. We say Kaddish later. Ukedusha adif mi maidim. Kedusha is better than maidim. Al kein ba samach le Kedusha. Therefore, if you came to shul next to Kedusha, meaning you came to shul and it's almost Kedusha. V'im yaschel miyad, if you start right away, lo yichal le'emar Kedusha, you won't be able to say Kedusha. V'im yamtin achad ad achar Kedusha, if you wait till after Kedusha, yo yichal le'emar moedim amat Tzibbur, you won't be able to say moedim with the Tzibbur. And you can't wait until after moedim. L'hamtin ad achar moedim enu yachal, mibnei chashash sheyaver zman tefillah, because you're afraid that tefillah will pass. By the way, but if you're not afraid that tefillah will pass, you have to wait to start your Shemone Esrei until after moedim. Mutav sheyaschel espal achar Kedusha, it's better to wait until after Kedusha, mis moedim, kein kasav ha-magin Avram. L'fimash b'yarnu l'kaman b'sif katan yadalad b'shem ha-magin gibarim, according to what we're explaining later on in Sif katan yadalad, the name of the magin gibarim, toiv sheyaschel b'zeh, it's better to start with this, l'espalel imat tzibur b'shaveh. In this case where you're coming late, it would be better to start the Chazaras Hashatz with the Shliach Tzibbur equally, v'yeh aloi Kedusha u'maidim, and this way you'll have Kedusha and Maidim. So it's better to start with the Shliach Tzibbur, and you'll be able to get Kedusha, you'll be able to get Moedim. V'chol shekein de Amen Yehishmei Rabba adif mi Moedim. Certainly Amen Yehishmei Rabba is greater than Moedim. Al kein mishabah lebeis haknesses take up achar Kedusha. Therefore, if you came right after Kedusha, if you're going to wait until after Moedim, lo yuchalanis Amen Yehishmei Rabba achar Kaddish achar Shemone Esrei. You're going to miss the Amen Yehishmei Rabba after Kaddish, after Shemone Esrei. And if you wait until after the Kaddish, you're going to miss the Zman Tefillah. V'im yamtin ad achar Kaddish yaver Zman Tefillah yaschel miyad. Start right away, because it's better to be mevatel Moedim than to be mevatel Amen Yehishmei Rabba. The mutav levatel Moedim melevatel Amen Yehishmei Rabba. V'oid, furthermore, de Moedim efsher lishchos be'emtza isan. Moedim, even if you miss, you could still chaparain by bowing. In other words, you could always do Moedim. Even if you're not going to say the words Moedim, you could always chaparain a Moedim by bowing while the Shliach Tzibbur says Moedim. V'chein adif Amen Yehishmei Rabba mitfilah b'tzibur. Amen Yehishmei Rabba is more important than davening with a minyan. Al kain imba samach lekaddish. Listen to this. You came to shul near Kaddish. V'im yispalel tekef. If you start davening right away, the Shemone Esrei yivatel Amen Yehishmei Rabba. So you came. This is talking about Marav time. You came to shul samach lekaddish. Like this. You came to shul Marav time. The shliach, the tzibur is like up to Shema Keilenu. If you start Shemone Esrei now, you'll chaparayin a shtickle tefillah b'tzibur, but you're going to miss Amen Yehishmei Rabba. V'im yispal take it v'yad Amen Yehishmei Rabba. V'im yamtin ad achar Kaddish. If you wait until after Kaddish, so you chol yispal arbas tzibur. Amen Yehishmei Rabba adif. It's better to answer Amen Yehishmei Rabba then to daven with a minyan. V'take of achar zeh yaschel l'spal Shemone Esrei l'shem mincha. And right after this, you should daven Shemone Esrei for mincha. Now what's this talking about? He just said we're talking about Marav. In other words, you basically came, it sounds like this guy came mincha time. The guy came at the end of mincha. And the tzibur is up to Kaddish. The tzibur is almost up to Kaddish. And if he waits to daven mincha after the Kaddish, he's going to miss davening mincha with the tzibur. He'll even miss davening marav with the tzibur. So we say, Amen Yehishmei Rabba adif. So what do? Wait until after Kedusha. Wait until after Kaddish. The take of achar zeh yaschel l'spal Shemone Esrei l'shem mincha. And right after that, say Shemone Esrei for mincha. The tzibur already started marav. Ve'ein lo ilachish al ma she'atzibur amaskil and arvis. Kivan shu adayin yoim. V'ayin ma she'kasavnu oid beber halacha b'shem ha'prima gadim. So let's try to get this case clear. Here the Mishabura says that Amen Yehishmei Rabba is greater than Tefillah B'tzibur. So you came to shul samach lekaddish. Which kaddish? Sounds like you must have come to shul samach to the kaddish after mincha. And if you daven right away, you're going to lose Amen Yehishmei Rabba after mincha. If you wait until after kaddish to daven mincha, then you're going to lose marav with the tzibur. What do? Better to wait till after Kaddish, daven mincha, and the fact that the tzibur started marav is not a problem. Mishnah Berurah, Sivkat on Hey, let's do one more Mishnah Berurah. V'hu adin Amen. The Ramah says the Amen of Hakel HaKadosh and the Amen of Shemei Tefillah is like Kaddish and Kedusha. It says in Mishabura, L'chayra bishlama amen de Shemei Tefillah yesh nafkamina. By the amen of Shemei Tefillah, there's a nafkamina knowing that it's important like Kaddish. What's the nafkamina? D'yeh tzarach lahamtin milaspalel afilu achar Kedusha ad sheyeda shigmar kadem bercha Shemei Tefillah. That is, if a person comes late and he's waiting to start Shemone Esrei to be able to answer Kedusha, because he knows he's not allowed to start Shemone Esrei at the expense of losing out on Kedusha. But now, if he's not going to be able to finish by Shemei Tefillah, he's not allowed to start either. But what's the nafkamina of the amen of Hakel HaKadosh? Anyway, he had to wait to be able to say Kedusha, so he'll wait a split second more to answer amen of Hakel HaKadosh. Avla amen to Hakel HaKadosh l'may nafkamina. Kiven d'tzarach ligmar l'spalo kodem Kedusha. Since he has to finish davening Shemone Esrei to be able to answer Kedusha, so he's already available to answer amen of Hakel HaKadosh. B'meila yano amen achar Hakel HaKadosh. V'yesh loymar, says Mishabur, the nafkamina would be the nafkamina afilu im shama Kedusha. Let's say he heard Kedusha already at a different minyan. The mikal makayim, he's not allowed to daven if he's not going to finish Shemone Esrei to answer the amen of Hakel HaKadosh. Tzarach lahamtin mishum amen to Hakel HaKadosh shelo shama adayin. V'gam le'inyan shelo yamed l'spalel teikav achar Kedusha. Another nafkamina is that if, let's say, you delayed davening Shemone Esrei until you answered Kedusha, you still can't start yet until you wait a little bit more to answer amen of Hakel HaKadosh. V'gam le'inyan shelo yamed l'spalel teikav achar Kedusha kiyam achar sheyano amen al habracha. The gam zehu shaykh leKedusha. That's part of Kedusha. The amen of Hakel HaKadosh is connected to Kedusha. V'hu adin im yoidea she'atzibbur yomru baruch hu. Let's say you know that Tzibbur is going to say baruch hu. V'hu lo shama adayin. You didn't hear baruch hu yet. Im yuchal ligmar tfilas etem she'yomra hakol baruch hu. If you could finish your Shemone Esrei before the Tzibbur says baruch hu. Mispalo kedarki. Let's say like this. You walk into Marav late. They're ready in the middle of Shemone Esrei. If you start Shemone Esrei now, you know you're going to miss the baruch hu that they're going to say at the end of the Marav. You're now to start Shemone Esrei. You have to wait until after the whole minyan is over and they say baruch hu, and then you could daven. Let's say like this. If you know that they won't finish the Shemone Esrei, you won't be able to finish your Shemone Esrei before baruch hu, you have to wait at Shir Chadasha, tzarach lahamtin b'Shir Chadasha, ad sheyishma baruch hu. Kfar shama Kedusha, if you already heard Kedusha, oy baruch hu or baruch hu, oy yodea sheyishma achakach, or you know you could hear it afterwards, ein tzarach lahamtin, you don't have to wait. So any of these responses that you wait for, if you already heard them or you could hear them later, you would not have to wait. Miu lemoidim. When it comes to moidim, afilu shama kama pamim moidim b'tzibur. Even if you already heard moidim many times, tzarach lahamtin. Why? Because the reason to answer moidim is not to answer moidim, but it's so that you don't look like a koifar, that you're not bowing while they're saying moidim. The hatam shlo yener koifar emeinu meshtachva. The reason is so you don't look like a heretic if you don't bow down. V'chein lekadish tzarach lahamtin. You also have to wait for kaddish, because there's no end of how many kadeshim you should answer. The ha'ein loy kitzba. There's no end for how obligatory responding to Kaddishes, but it could be the Kadeshim from Aleinu and on are not obligatory, they were just added later. Only the only Iker Kadeshim are the Kaddish after Shemone Esrei, the Kaddish before Baruch Hu, the Kaddish after Shemone Esrei, and the Kaddish after Asher Yuval L'Tzion. By the way, the Kaddish after Mizmar Shir was just deployed to get people to come to shul early when they have yahrzeit. But that's also not Me'ikar HaTfilah. Fine. King Kosav HaMagen Avram, V'shar HaChoyne V'adarach HaChaim V'chayadim Kosav D'chol HaKadeshim Im Shama Kfar. The Chayadim writes all the Kadeshim, if you already heard them, Va'ana Amen Yeshmei Rabba, Ein Tzarech Sulahamtin, you no longer have to wait anymore. One more, Achar Kedusha. They're like, you know what? We're going to do that part tomorrow. Okay, we're up to the next part of the Mechaber. We'll see everybody tomorrow, 9 a.m. Have a great day, everyone. Bracha v'atzlacha. Kol tov.